Explore the beauty of Nashville with Jody's Journeys, May 29th through June 2nd. Join Jody Griner, your travel guide, and explore the treasures of Nashville. Contact Jody Griner at 641-660-6417. This tour only holds 50 seats. Demand is high. Secure your spot now. Call Jody's Journeys at 641-660-6417. Again, Jody's Journeys is going to Nashville, May 29th through June 2nd.
Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Thursday, March the 7th. Leading off the headlines this morning, the markets are awaiting the USDA's new forecast for crop supply, demand, and prices. Here with the details is USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
We are just hours away now from the next monthly release of USDA's World Ag Supply and Demand Forecasts, which will include new projections for exports and season average prices for most crops. Prices based on what farmers are getting now,
and also based on what's happening in the futures markets.
USDA Outlook Board Chairman Mark Jekanowski says there's no way to know what his analysts are going to come up with this month in terms of demand or price, but
prices for essentially all of the major commodities have been relatively weak lately, have been declining since the start of the year, and that's just reflecting those large global supplies and relatively stagnant demand, and that's a condition that we're going to be facing as we look toward the new spring planting season.
USDA's new supply, demand, and price forecast will be out very shortly now, Friday noon Eastern Time. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
The USDA is surveying thousands of farmers about their planting plans. Here again is Gary Crawford.
This time of year, there is all kind of speculation, scientific projection, and outright guessing on the subject of how much of what crops farmers will plant this spring. But
this is our first opportunity to find out directly from the farmers, what do you expect to plant this season?
Lance Honig with the USDA Statistics Service, which is right in the middle of surveying a lot of farmers on that subject.
We reach out to just a little over 70,000 producers, roughly the first 2 weeks of March. Basically, we're asking them very specifically, crop by crop, how many acres do you expect to plant?
Honig is also asking farmers to please reply to the survey by March 15th.
Because from that point forward, we've got a lot of work to do to compile all those responses and all the data that comes along with a survey of 70,000 producers in time for release.
USDA will release the prospective plantings report March 28th, noon Eastern Time. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, USDA recently announced the latest round of loans and loan guarantees designed to build and improve rural electric infrastructure throughout the country. Here with more is USDA Radio's Rod Bain.
Funding clean energy infrastructure development and expansion. That's the focus of USDA loan and loan guarantees announced Wednesday. Rural Development Rural Utilities Service Administrator Andy Merck says $2.2 billion is being invested to support 39 projects in 20 states.
Those dollars are set aside for rural electric co-ops
and utility providers. Electric infrastructure loan and loan guarantees are designed to help providers with support to build and improve infrastructure, as well as smart grid technologies and renewable energy systems. Among the goals of these projects,
lower the amount of pollution that is going into our air and into our water, to both improve health outcomes for families and to make sure that these communities see great economic development in years to come.
With the current round of loans and loan guarantees expected to benefit more than 2 million rural electric customers. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin blamed his state's farm runoff for a huge dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico at a recent Senate Ag hearing. But the solution could apply to neighboring states as well. When it comes to preventing farm runoff, Durbin told USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack at a recent hearing his state doesn't have such a good record.
We're about number 4 in the nation in terms of agriculture production, pretty big state. But we rank 37th in the nation when it comes to participation in the major conservation programs, soil conservation programs that might avoid some of this runoff.
So what to do about that? Here's Secretary Vilsack.
The resources that you all have provided under the Inflation Reduction Act provide some ammunition to begin to address this issue in a more meaningful way. We've expanded the number of cooperative groups that are reaching out to farmers to encourage them to participate in basic conservation that could potentially significantly reduce the need.
Nutrient research and precision ag are also key, and not just for Illinois.
I've been told that perhaps as many as 30% of our corn acres in Iowa and Illinois may not require any fertilizer at all. We have resources that have been applied from the CCC that we're utilizing to create alternatives to the fertilizers. So we're going to look at different ways to fertilize the land.
While Vilsack says USDA's climate smart practices that encourage farmers to produce crops sustainably and get a premium for doing so should also help reduce runoff in the Mississippi, Missouri, and other rivers. And he says better conservation will improve the productivity and value of farmland, making it a better investment. And finally, this morning, farmers and ranchers in the Texas Panhandle and parts of Oklahoma have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars from the wildfires. And while the outpouring of support has been tremendous, Texas Governor Greg Abbott says they will continue to need help.
There's a lot of cattle in the entire region that have no food. And again, there has been a big outpouring of support. But the hay that has been delivered has already been used for the most part. And the reality is, for not just days, but for months, there's going to be far more hay that is needed. I'm very proud and grateful for our fellow Texans stepping up and helping out, as well as other states that are willing to provide assistance, and farmers and ranchers and donors and supporters across America. But I just want all of them and all of you all to know that there is much more hay that's going to be needed for all the livestock across the entire region. And the more and the quicker that you can provide it, all the better.
He says they also need fencing materials and cattle cubes, but he's asking those who want to help to reach out to see exactly what is needed.
We don't want a lot of people just funneling in whatever fencing material they may have, because there are certain specifications that have to be met in order to have the type and quality of fencing that's needed for the ranches in this area.
The Texas AgriLife Extension is recommending higher protein cubes or cake from something like a 28% distiller's grains or DDGS cube to a 38% cottonseed meal-based cube, saying it will be better suited to help fill the protein and energy voids left by relatively low-quality hay. Well, you can keep up with the latest from the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, I bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station, found at ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day, we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music. Again, the place to find Rural Strong Radio is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. We're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go while you're working on the farm or ranch. Let's get through the workday together. Well, I'll be back again tomorrow with another Rural Strong Morning Ag Report here on Steve Shetler Media. Make it a great day, everybody.